Hey guys, it's the Cubist MTG, and today we're going Pauper again. This is a third in our series of cards for Pauper. We have the full cube made here. We have a few cards that might make it in. We've been through lands, artifacts, and red cards, and today we're going through the green. So we're just going to take a look at what and why we have our green cards in here. So we're going to start off, we had a recommendation to go by converted mana cost, so we're going to start with the ones and go all the way up. All right, we got Wild Necrotal. A little worse because we don't have dual lands in. But, you know, this could be potentially a 1 mana 3/3, which is very strong for green. We do have the potential for some shenanigans with this, so overall just a really strong common card. Ranger's Guile, 1/1 and hexproof. I think in Pauper it's important to have a lot of ways to make sure your creatures stay alive. So being able to buff it and give it hexproof is pretty strong. We've seen a lot of burn in red. We have Young Wolf with Undying. Kind of, 1/1 comes back as a 2/2. I just think it's a very strong common card again. Just a good 1-drop wolf. Prey upon target creature you control fights target creature you don't control. Good way, just a little bit of cheap removal for green, which green doesn't have a ton of, so keep it like that. Giant Growth, this is essentially the green lightning bolt. Like the card, gives you good invasion. We have Squirrel Dealer. When he enters the battlefield, ask a person outside the game, do you like squirrels? If he or she does, get a 1/1 squirrel token. So an easy way just to get a 2/2 on the board of stats. Again, just a silly card. I like some of these really funny, essentially just goofy unglued cards. Rancor, and I mean this just keeps coming back, so really strong card. Has a lot of replayability, so just green needs some good value. Can't be the target, and if you kicked it gets 4/4, so again just a lot of power up but also some evasion, which is very strong. Basking Root Walla, just a really good card. If you can discard it, you get it for free, and then you can pump it. Very good 1-drop common. Again, it's just all about value here. I'm going to come down just a little bit here. All right, Saproling Migration. I like these kicker cards just because they give you a chance, especially in limited. You have a lot of extra mana floating around, but you can make 4 if you pay the extra. So just a place to dump mana if you want to, but it lasts in your curve at 2 and at 6. Wall of Roots. A good way to just get some mana. It also acts as a chump blocker. Nothing too crazy here. I mean, these common cards aren't anything super nuts. It's just all about getting good value for your cards that you're putting in. Flash and Death Touch. It's a good combo there. You can kind of sneak it in and kill something if they have a big one. Again, it basically is removal without it's casting a removal at instant speed. This is kind of a multicolored one, but put a 1/1 counter on each of 2 creatures, and then it has flashback. We saw with our land base we have a lot of dual lands, so this could fit in very nicely and easily there. Target creature you control fights another one you can't. This is essentially the same thing as Prey Upon, but as a singleton you want to have a couple of different options for people. Sylvan Might with flashback. Again, this is just like a lightning or burst lightning to someone, 2 damage, and then you can flash it back if you want to. Flashback instant speed stuff is always really fun to me. So Savage Punch, again a fight, but then with ferocious, it can be a little bit more. This is just again a little bit of removal. Another goofy card here. Search library for a basic land card. If there's a tree in its art, put it on the battlefield tapped. Otherwise, put it in your hands. Basically, if it's a forest, you can throw it in for free. If not, then don't. But I mean, you can find a tree on some of those dual lands or something like that, so it makes you pay attention to the art. Wild Mongrel, discard a card, and it becomes 1/1. This goes really well with the Basking Root Walla. Again, it's just a good way to maybe throw some stuff in the graveyard. Target creature you control gets 1/1, and then it fights. I like this fight mechanic in Pauper because it kind of gets, cheap removal. That's what it's all about, cheap removal. And it kind of gives you a little bit of trickery for green, which is rare. We have Reach and Death Touch. Reach is important because blue has a lot of flying. Even white has a lot of flying. Another strong card here. Rampant Growth. Just puts a thing into play. And then we got some more ramp here with Sakura. These are both really good cards that are included in a lot of cubes. Our Sakura Tribalber is in the Vintage Power, so, you know, it is good. And then if you have a 1/1 counter, you get one cheaper, and then we got another fight mechanic there. So green has a big fight theme going through it because you can throw out a big creature and then have them fight, and it's a good removal. When he enters the field, gets a 1/1 green sapling token. This kind of pairs with the token deck of red. Devoid of color, you get a 1/1 and it has a sacrifice, so it's a little bit of ramp. But these devoid of color cards are kind of important because there's a lot of destroy a creature of a certain color and things like that. So it's fun just to throw those in. Return target creature or land from your graveyard to your owner's hand. You gain 6 life. A little bit of stability there. Sign of the Wild, number of creatures you control. So this fits into like those token decks, which is really good. This card was always fun for me. I love Judgment. But 3/3, when it dies, you get a elephant creature, which gives you a little bit of longevity. If you get wiped, you can put it back into play. This is a little bit of this is a lockdown card for green. So when you're making a cube, you don't want to just put in the normal stuff. You don't want green just to be big green creatures. You want to have some weird stuff. And this is basically a white card that's green, which is fun. Another kicker card here. Draw 2 cards if you want to, or it can just come in as a chump. This is a draw card, but also can search for some mana, so we get a little ramp. This is also in the Vintage Powered Cube. When he enters the field, look at the top 5 cards of the library, put a land of those into play, so this is a little more ramp. A lot of the good ramp cards are, rare, slotted, or higher, but I don't want to just fill this with the typical stuff. I don't want Land of War Elves. I don't want Findahorn Elves. I don't want just the typical, it's this big green creature. It's got to be something goofy. So he enters the field, put a 1/1 blue Merfolk with Hexproof in, just again getting that, token kind of thing. This is very new player friendly as well, which I'm a big fan of. Search your library for up to 2 basic forest cards, put them into the battlefield tapped, and blah, blah, blah. This is just a really good ramp. When he enters the battlefield, you may search your library for basic land cards. So these are where the land searching comes in, but you also get a body. Search for Tomorrow, another great one that's in the Vintage Power Cube. Everyone should know that card. This is Enchanted Creature, gets 3/3, but it also has Dredge. So we're kind of messing around with the graveyard a little bit with this. We got the flashbacks. Really love that. Another fight card here, but it gives the thing 1/1 and trample. 2/2 and trample and draw a card, so we get a little bit of a give a card, get a card. Another kicker here, 4/4, but if it gets kicked, you get a 7/7. So again, this is a good late game and also early game card. This one gives you a little bit of that token option if you want the Scion to be big and buff. Reach, which is good, and then it has Megamorph, which is fine as well because you can kind of jump in at that surprise status. Target creature gets 2/2 in fights. Again, a reoccurring theme in there. Don't need to go in depth there. This has reach, but when it dies, you get another one. Again, I like these tokens and kind of cool stuff. Again, token with flashback here. Elephant Ambush. Spend only mana produced by basic lands to get this. The 4 mana 5/5, just good value. Reach and Monstrosity. This again, in limited, you always have a lot of mana, and having a place to dump those is always good. Enrage, whenever he is dealt damage, create a 1/1 token, so we're making a lot of tokens here. Convoke, so you can make 3 green sapling tokens, but if you have a lot of other little dudes, you can kind of make it for cheaper. If you have something die, this comes in as a 6/6 and some trample, so now we're getting into the bigger part of the curve that has the bigger green creatures. Dealing damage and persist, which is always good because it comes back but also gives you an ability. Delve and trample, so this is kind of like that Ulamog Angler. It comes in as a 4/4 and we can buff it up. Cycling, you can search your library or you can just put him in as a 6/5. When he enters, put 2 3/3 colorless, and Golans have trample, so very strong card there. Riot and trample, huge card. Now we're getting into the last 2 cards here, and these are the biggest ones. And when this leaves play, get a 4/4, and you may evoke it. Again, it has a little bit of that big green creature at the end, but they're not just plain big creatures. They're not just 12/12s. They are things that come in and do damage, and until then, we have ramp and a lot of fighting mechanics in the back here. So this may be not your typical green card, green setup here, but that's kind of what I was going for. So, all right, guys, thanks for checking this out. Next, we will probably be doing white, and I can't wait to get this Pauper Cube up and running so we can get some drafts going. Thanks for watching, guys, and we will catch you next time.